Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Kadene Chambers, and welcome back to another BTS Live Loss Grief. We're now diving into the gems as Maxine McTaggart, our guest this month, continues to share her experience with losing multiple family members and how she has dealt with the grief process and just the coping and the adjusting in general. Maxine, thank you so much for still being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Right. And I want to remind you, my viewers, that we also have guests with us on BTS Live, hence the live. I want to thank all our guests who are joining us and listening. And there is some conversations taking place in our chat. And if there is a question at the end, we will have those as well. So, Maxine, last week we had a good chat where we looked at all of the losses that you have experienced as it relates to loved ones. And you highlighted that, so you've lost your brother, you've lost an aunt who was like your mother, you've lost your dad, you've lost both grandparents as well, and the most recent loss is your mom. And you've also lost a best friend who was very close to you. And all of this since over the last, is it a 10-year period or more?
More. Almost 20.
More like 20 years. Right.
Yeah.
And so she just came up on the first anniversary. I think it's always so weird when we say the anniversary of someone's death, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with the word, because every time we think anniversary, we think we're celebrating something and it's exciting or whatever. So I'm not sure what to do with it, you know? But yes. So the question that we have for this week's Gem Max is there anything profound that you have learned through either their collective losses or any particular loss that you've had?
Anything profound? Can I tell you, I do believe that the Lord prepares us for the loved one going. That's something.
Tell me about that.
I remember before my friend died, I had a dream that they shot someone right outside my car. And my son and I were in the vehicle. And about 3 days after, that was the sort of death my friend experienced. When it was my father, there were some things that we needed to put in place. I was always telling the Lord, God, boy, this birth certificate issue with Daddy, that he's not in the hospital, and this thing about doing an autopsy and all of that. And I said, God, I need you to tell me when. And I remember the Sunday night, the Lord sent his angel and tell me, now is the time to take my father to the hospital. And when that happened, he went in the Tuesday and he died the Wednesday morning. He went in the Tuesday, they did every test possible. And so I didn't have to worry about an autopsy. And with my mother, there was preparation before. And the funny thing, the morning that my mother was going to die, I remember I dreamt seeing her and that her head fell back. And that the life, as if the life had gone. And so, and I'm sure I can't remember exactly about my aunt or whatever, but I do realize that if we stop long enough to pay attention to certain things, the Lord prepares us. Whether we want to admit it or not, he prepares us for these things. So that is one of the things that I've learned. And I mean, if we open our ears and all of that sort of stuff, it's possible that it kind of prepares us and let the grieving process probably a little bit easier. Mark, it's not, and it may not necessarily be, because I remember even with my mother, and I was saying that I wish the doctors had told me. I wish they had told me. There were days I was just, and I had to stop myself. I had to say, okay, what would you have done? And they didn't. So what are you going to do? So sometimes we have to stop beating up ourselves. There are some things that we wish would have happened, but they didn't happen. we have to learn how to not beat up ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are things that I've learned.
A profound thing. And I like that. So paying attention to our body, our minds, our thoughts, because any information that we're getting from God, any information or communication that's coming through the Holy Spirit or the divine, it is, you can only recognize it for what it is.
Exactly.
In the stillness.
Mm-hmm.
In the stillness. So it's being still so you can pick up that information. And then I guess for sometimes we get the information, but we can't even translate what it really means.
Yes.
And a lot of times it's after the fact that something else comes to you and you're like, oh, that's what that was preparing me for.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's what that was. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So it's to be still. Thank you so much for sharing that gem with us on this episode of BTS Live Gems, Maxine. Viewers, we'll catch you next week.